Later to say of him, he was nervous and he ended up giving an appalling account of himself that did him no favours whatsoever. It was the most appalling testimony I have ever witnessed, and I think it effectively led to Ed Milne being convicted. They saw no grounds of appeal.
The thing is, I asked my court solicitor and the QC at the time, is within seconds of walking out of the dock, for an appeal to go ahead, and all they turned around and said, look, there's nothing to appeal on, the whole case has been a farce. There's nothing to appeal on. You must be able to appeal something on a point of law. And as I said, being naive and ignorant, I knew nothing of where that would come in as far as my case is concerned.
In spite of this advice, Ed Milne got down to work. He was determined to appeal. He wrote to several MPs and was finally told to take his case to the newly formed Scottish Criminal Case Review Commission. His actions were attracting publicity.
I wrote into the Criminal Case Review Commission and we put in an appeal to them, and I was told that they were investigating. The legal officer come to see me, I gave him all the details and such forth. Then in 2001 I got my case turned down by them. I asked for various reviews. Again, these things were all just brushed aside as far as I was concerned.
Castle Motors closed down and a supermarket took its place. Ed Milne began to look around for other work. He offered to help his former secretary in setting up a car sales business in Dundee. And then, 2 years after the conviction, Ed Milne received a letter from the Trading Standards Office in Forfar. The Director of Fair Trading was now requesting him to sign a declaration that he would not consent to or connive at a course of action that would commit an offence under the Trade Descriptions Act. It was clear that if Ed Milne signed this, no one would take his pleas of innocence seriously. Ed Milne refused to sign anything, saying he'd not been guilty of the offences in the first place. He did not work after this. What money he and his wife had was invested in a small grocery shop in Forfar, which his wife ran with him helping out. Much of his time was now spent at home working on his case. He applied to the Scottish Criminal Case Review Commission for a second time. But the news from Glasgow was now gloomy. The stipulated time for holding documents was now past. Many had been thrown away or simply lost. Memories were now fading about what happened in the courtroom in 1989. The man in the Crown Service who had had the argument with him about the car had also forgotten all about it, even though the discussion about possible conflict of interest was a matter of record.
Well, they have turned me down again, but they have ignored the conflicts of interest problem that I had. They have made no reference to that. They have said, according to their paperwork, nobody seems to remember anything, according to the Commission's reports. And as I say, I feel this is what's been going on. It's just a flannel covering up. We can't remember. It's too long ago and things like this. This is all I'm getting now.
After 20 years of this legal turmoil, one point is clear. Although Ed Milne considers that the central issue of his case is the conflict of interest, there has been no judicial review of that aspect of the case. Indeed, the only consideration of it was made in private at the court in Forfar, with Ed Milne's adversary taking part. This had been done before the trial took place and without Ed Milne's participation. No one has ever considered how such a conflict of interest might affect the psychology of Ed Milne. Normally quite rational, he was enraged when accused in court by a man who was, to his mind, embittered against him because of an earlier violent argument. His defence team considered that he was judged on his reaction to that situation not on the facts of the case. Whilst attempting to clear his name, he discovered that in order to obtain work in his area of expertise, he would have to agree to a suggestion that he was guilty of a crime he claimed he had not done. As he sees it, because he refused to repair a car that was out of warranty, he was reduced, by those with the power to exact revenge, from being head of a car sales company to helping out in a local shop. What is usually regarded as a strength of our system of justice may sometimes be a weakness. There is traditional admiration for skilled advocates who use their robust confrontational skills as interrogators in order to catch a witness off guard and so extract the truth. However, if a witness is provoked too much by aggressive and apparently biased questioning, he will later find that losing his temper in the face of such provocation is not a ground of appeal.